When Justin Bieber once said that even thinking about another woman is cheating, it was not just a sentence spoken in passing. It was a moment of reflection, a statement that revealed how far he had come from the wild early years of fame into a season of introspection and growth and love. Because behind the flashing lights and platinum records, there is a human being who has lived through the dizzying heights of adoration and the crushing lows of being misunderstood. And when he said those words, the world listened, and it reminded everyone that in the heart of the global superstar, there is still a boy from Stratford, Ontario, who grew up singing on the streets, hoping one day his voice would reach the stars, and it did. But fame came. With its lessons and the emotional wisdom that Justin now carries, shines through not only in his music, but in how he chooses to live his life with purpose and devotion. And that idea of loyalty, of commitment, of cherishing one person completely, resonated far beyond just a love story. It became a symbol of self-respect and faith and maturity, something that fans all around the world could feel, because everyone has loved and lost and learned to love again. And in the world of celebrities, where temptation and attention surround them at every turn, hearing someone like Justin Bieber talk about the sanctity of thought and the honesty of love felt refreshing. It was real. And from that idea, we see how love, faith, and fame intertwine. In the lives of so many artists from different corners of the globe, each writing their own story in melodies and moments that shape culture and touch millions. For example, when we look at someone like Taylor Swift, we see another evolution of the heart through art. A young woman who started as a country girl with a guitar and dreams and turned her heartbreaks and triumphs into poetic storytelling that redefined the music industry. Her songs became diaries for millions. Her voice became a soundtrack to growing up and falling in love and moving on. And in that journey, she too explored loyalty, forgiveness, and rediscovery. Her connection with her fans is legendary, built on honesty, vulnerability, and shared experience. And when you see Taylor smiling on stage, it is not just about fame. It is about resilience. It is about taking every criticism, every headline, every rumor, and turning it into a song that makes someone somewhere feel understood. Because that is what art is about. That is what being a celebrity at heart really means, to touch lives and inspire. And speaking of inspiration, the world has seen so many artists who use their fame not just for entertainment, but for empowerment. Like Selena Gomez, who turned her challenges with health and heartbreak into advocacy and strength. She opened conversations about mental wellness and kindness, and how to protect your peace in a world that constantly demands more. She showed that healing is not a straight line, but a journey. And her fans followed that path, with her learning to love themselves a little more each day through her honesty and her grace. And then there is Beyoncé, whose name itself has become a symbol of power, artistry, and excellence, a woman who has built an empire out of creativity, discipline, and love for her culture. She reminds the world that greatness requires focus, and that vulnerability and power can exist in the same breath. Her performances are not just concerts. They are celebrations of identity, of womanhood, of heritage. And behind that glamour is a woman who works tirelessly, who pushes herself to deliver messages of unity, pride, and resilience. Her journey from Destiny's Child to global icon status shows what happens when passion meets purpose. And then we cross over to artists like Ed Sheeran, the humble singer-songwriter who writes from the soul about love, friendship, and the ordinary beauty of life. His lyrics carry simplicity yet profound emotion. His rise from small pubs to world stadiums is proof that talent and sincerity never go out of style. And Ed, like Justin, carries that same sense of loyalty and love, a belief that honesty is everything, and you can feel it in the way he talks about his wife Cherry and their quiet life away from the noise, because fame can be loud, but peace whispers softly, and that whisper is where true happiness lives. And as we look around the world, we find stories like that everywhere. Artists who remind us that fame is not about the number of followers, but the depth of influence. People like BTS from South Korea, who started as underdogs in a world dominated by Western pop, but broke every barrier through authenticity and hard work. Their message of self-love and resilience turned into a global movement, inspiring millions to find comfort in their own reflection. Their journey from small beginnings to world tours and United Nations speeches shows the power of music to transcend language and bring people together. And then we see icons like Rihanna, who turned from a singer into a business mogul and humanitarian. Her beauty line, Fenty, changed the industry by including shades for everyone, her charity work, quietly changes lives around the world, her fashion sense defines generations, and still she remains grounded, funny, and real, reminding her fans that you can be fierce and kind at the same time. And across oceans, stars like Shakira bring rhythm and purpose together, blending music, dance, and humanitarian work for children in Latin America, showing that success and compassion can exist in perfect harmony. And when we talk about heart and fame, we cannot forget people like Keanu Reeves, whose humility has become legendary in Hollywood. He has faced personal tragedy, and yet carries himself with kindness and gratitude. His fans adore him not for his movies alone, but for the goodness he radiates in every small gesture. Because being a celebrity at its best is not about luxury, but about humanity. And then there is Zendaya, whose grace and confidence inspire young people everywhere. She started on Disney Channel, and now stands as an Emmy-winning actress and fashion icon, proving that authenticity will always shine brighter than image. She uses her platform to speak about confidence, representation, and self-love, reminding her generation that you do not need to fit into anyone's box to be beautiful or successful. And in that sense, she mirrors someone like Emma Watson, who grew up before our eyes, from Hermione Granger to a voice for women's rights through the He for She campaign, blending intelligence with influence, showing that celebrities can be powerful advocates for change. And as the camera pans across this glittering universe of stars, we see how interconnected their stories are, like constellations, each glowing with lessons of perseverance, kindness, and creativity. And when we circle back to Justin Bieber, it all ties together, because his quote about loyalty and thoughtfulness is really a reflection of a larger truth in this world, that fame may magnify everything, but it also strips away pretense and reveals who people truly are at their core. And Justin's core has always been about love. He sings about it, he prays about it, he builds his life around it, and his transformation over the years shows that even when the world tries to define you, you can always choose to redefine yourself through faith, effort, and humility, and that message ripples across generations, connecting him to other artists who have walked the same road of growth, like Miley Cyrus, who turned rebellion into reinvention, embracing every era of herself, and teaching her fans that it is okay to evolve, to be wild and wise, to make mistakes and start over. And in her story, there is also redemption, like in Demi Lovato's journey through healing and rediscovery. Using her voice to speak about strength, recovery, and the importance of mental health, she reminds us that being strong does not mean being perfect. It means being real. And in that realness lies connection and hope. And those stories remind us that the world of celebrities, though often seen as distant and shiny, is really a mirror reflecting the struggles and triumphs that all humans share, only amplified under brighter lights. And that is why we listen, why we watch, why we care. Because behind every headline, there is a heartbeat. Behind every stage, there is a soul. And behind every quote, like Justin's, there is a lesson about love, integrity, and the quiet power of staying true to what you believe. And that is how we begin our journey into the world of fame, fashion, art, and faith, where the most beautiful moments are not the ones caught by cameras, but the ones that happen when no one is watching. When stars remember that before they were icons, they were dreamers, and those dreams still shine in every song, every smile, every act of kindness that makes this glittering world feel just a little more human. And as we continue wandering deeper into this shimmering landscape of celebrity lives, we realize that fame is both a spotlight and a mirror. It reflects what is within and magnifies it for the world to see. And yet inside that glow, there are stories of humility, courage, and love that quietly teach us something about our own paths. Take someone like Lady Gaga, for instance, whose name became synonymous with boldness and art. But behind every outrageous outfit and performance, there is a woman who has fought for acceptance, who has used her fame to champion kindness through her Born This Way foundation. She reminds her fans that being different is not a curse, but a crown, and that real beauty begins when you decide to be yourself fully and fearlessly. And when she sings about love or pain, you can hear the echoes of her own journey, her vulnerability bleeding through every lyric, reaching out to anyone who has ever felt unseen. And that honesty connects her to artists like Adele, whose voice has the power to make the world stop for a moment and feel something raw, something real. Adele's songs about heartbreak, forgiveness, and growth have become anthems for millions. She stands on stage without need for fireworks or gimmicks, Just her voice and her truth, and that simplicity is what makes her extraordinary. Because in a world where fame often demands perfection, she chooses authenticity. She shows that power can come from stillness and that vulnerability is strength, and that idea carries through artists across continents like Bad Bunny, who has redefined Latin music with his unapologetic creativity, blending genres and challenging norms while staying grounded in his roots. He uses his art to celebrate identity and individuality, and through his activism, he speaks out for equality and love, proving that being a celebrity can mean being a voice for those who need one. And when you look at stars like Billie Eilish, you see another generation redefining what it means to be famous. She came into the spotlight as a teenager, yet carried wisdom beyond her years. Her music whispers the truth of modern youth, of anxiety, of beauty, of quiet rebellion. She dresses how she wants, sings what she feels, and shows that fame can coexist with authenticity if you hold on to who you are. And her brother Phineas stands beside her as a symbol of family and creativity working together to turn emotion into art. And it is that togetherness that threads through so many stories, because behind the solo spotlight there is often a team, a family, a friend who keeps a star grounded, like Hailey Bieber for Justin, whose quiet strength complements his evolution, showing that behind every great artist, there is often a great partner who believes in them, and that theme of support carries through. When you think of couples like David and Victoria Beckham blending sports music, fashion, and family into a legacy of unity, they remind the world that success shared is success multiplied, and that love can survive the chaos of fame through respect, patience, and laughter. And their journey inspires younger generations of celebrities to see family as an anchor in the storm, because no matter how far the lights shine, the heart always longs for home. And that longing is what makes these stories relatable, because even the brightest stars need warmth. They need peace. They need love. And that is what connects someone like Jennifer Lopez, whose career spans decades yet, whose heart still beats with the same passion as the girl from the Bronx. She continues to reinvent herself as a singer, actress, and businesswoman, proving that age is just a number and that dreams evolve with you. She shows women everywhere that reinvention is not losing yourself. It is finding new ways to shine. And her resilience mirrors that of actors like Robert Downey Jr., who transformed from scandal to redemption. His portrayal of Iron Man became more than a role. It was a metaphor for rebuilding oneself piece by piece, turning pain into purpose. And his story remains one of Hollywood's most powerful comebacks, reminding us that no fall is final if you choose to rise again, and that rising spirit burns in countless others. Like Selena Gomez, who after facing health battles used her voice to encourage others never to give up, and like Demi Lovato, who continues to turn struggle into strength, showing that even when life tests, art can be the way back home. And speaking of coming home, the story of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson resonates worldwide, because he embodies perseverance and positivity. His journey from athlete to movie star to entrepreneur is fueled by gratitude and work ethic. He treats every success as a gift and every challenge as motivation, and his humility, despite global fame, makes him loved by millions. His mantra about being the hardest worker in the room inspires people in every field, because he proves that kindness and ambition can live side by side. And when we think about kindness, we cannot forget Taylor Swift again, because she has used her power to uplift others, to support young artists, and advocate for ownership of her music. Her transformation from the girl with a guitar to the mastermind of eras is a masterclass in reinvention strategy and integrity. She stands as a reminder that you can be gentle and powerful, meticulous and creative, that you can write your own story and sing it too. And in another corner of the world, artists like Zayn Malik have shown how solitude can also be healing after the intensity of global fame. With One Direction, he took a step back to rediscover himself, creating music that reflected his inner world. His artistry became more introspective, and fans connected to that honesty. And across oceans, and Bollywood stars like Shah Rukh Khan continue to embody the magic of cinema, blending charm, wisdom, and compassion into a career that spans generations. His philanthropic efforts and eloquent words about love and humanity make him a beacon of optimism, proving that fame, when used with grace, can become a form of service. And that same light shines in Priyanka Chopra Jonas, who has transcended borders, representing South Asian excellence. In Hollywood, using her platform to tell stories that matter. Her journey from pageant winner to global actress entrepreneur and UNICEF ambassador showcases what happens when determination meets purpose. And then we glance towards someone like Angelina Jolie, whose evolution from actress to humanitarian has touched countless lives. Her work with refugees, her voice for justice, and her deep compassion reveal that stardom can evolve into stewardship, that fame can be used to amplify empathy, and in that sense, she stands beside others like Leonardo DiCaprio, whose environmental activism echoes his belief that the earth itself is the stage we must protect. His foundation has helped countless causes, and through his films, he continues to challenge himself artistically, while encouraging the world to think more deeply about responsibility. And that word responsibility ripples through the stories of modern influencers and celebrities who now navigate fame in an age where every moment can be shared and scrutinized. Yet many are learning to balance transparency with privacy, like Zendaya, who gracefully manages fame with wisdom beyond her years, choosing projects that speak to representation and art, and being a role model who shows that elegance and individuality can coexist. Or Timothée Chalamet, whose authenticity and artistry have made him beloved worldwide, proving that sensitivity is not weakness but power, and that being real in a world that rewards performance is the truest kind of rebellion. And then there are cultural icons like Beyoncé and Jay-Z, whose partnership redefines what it means to build an empire together, balancing creativity, business, and love. They stand as symbols of vision, discipline, and unity, reminding everyone that greatness is not an accident. It is the result of endless work and shared purpose. And speaking of purpose, Oprah Winfrey remains the living testament to what faith, persistence, and compassion can achieve. Her journey from hardship to media royalty shows that influence is most meaningful when used to uplift others. She has turned storytelling into healing conversations and continues to inspire countless people to live with intention and gratitude. And when we pause and reflect, we realize that all these lives intertwine in a vast constellation of dreams, perseverance, and reinvention, where each star shines differently, yet contributes to the same sky. And that is what makes the world of celebrities so captivating. It is not just about glamour, but about growth, not just about applause, but about authenticity, because every red carpet hides the same heartbeat that every listener, every fan, every dreamer carries within themselves. And as we continue this journey, we begin to see fame not as a finish line, but as a beginning, a space where lessons unfold. And the truest stars are those who keep learning, who keep loving, who keep shining, no matter how heavy the crown may feel. And as we keep moving through this galaxy of fame and feeling, we begin to notice that the brightest lights often come from the darkest nights, because behind every success story, there is always a chapter of struggle. And when we look at people like Ariana Grande, we see that duality in motion. Her voice is angelic, her style iconic, yet her path has been paved with trials that shaped her strength. She faced loss and heartbreak and public pressure, yet turned pain into power through music that speaks of healing, gratitude, and resilience. She showed that softness is not weakness, it is survival. And in doing so, she inspired millions to find beauty in vulnerability. And that thread continues when we think of Harry Styles, who embodies freedom, expression, and kindness. His career after One Direction bloomed into artistry defined by authenticity. His fashion choices defy norms, his music celebrates love in all its forms, and his calm, gentle confidence reminds his fans that being yourself is the boldest statement you can make. And when you see the love he shares with his audience, it feels like a celebration of humanity itself. And that kind of connection transcends stage and screen, just as it does with someone like Shawn Mendes, another artist whose sincerity shines through every song. His friendship with Justin Bieber and shared reflections on growth and gratitude reveal how fame can bring people together, not as competitors, but as companions in purpose. Shawn's openness about anxiety has made so many feel seen, proving that courage is not about being unafraid, but about choosing honesty over perfection. And that truth flows into the story of Camila Cabello, whose journey from group member to solo artist is one of self-discovery. She sings of inner peace and empowerment, reminding listeners that independence is not loneliness, it is freedom. And her willingness to speak about mental wellness shows that even the stars who sparkle the brightest still need time to rest, recharge, and reflect. And across the world, the theme repeats as artists like Blackpink from South Korea redefine global pop with their mix of charisma, precision, and charm. Their rise from trainees to international icons is a lesson. In discipline and unity, their fashion collaborations, their confidence, and their humility make them modern role models, showing that dreams have no borders and teamwork has no limits. And on another stage, in another rhythm, we find The Weeknd, whose a mysterious aura and haunting melodies explore love, fame, and redemption. His artistry feels cinematic, painting emotion in neon and shadow, and yet beyond the spectacle, there is a human seeking meaning, reminding us that even in luxury, there can be loneliness, and even in silence, there can be truth. And speaking of reinvention, the world watched Britney Spears reclaim her voice after years of struggle. Her freedom became a movement, her strength a symbol that no matter how powerful the system, love and perseverance can break through. And the way fans stood by her side demonstrated how connection between artist and audience can evolve into solidarity, proving that pop culture is not just entertainment, it is empathy in motion, and that same empathy fuels figures like Selena Gomez once again, who has turned her own heartbreaks into lessons for millions through her documentary and her brand built on authenticity. She continues to teach that healing can coexist with success and that transparency can be transformative. And when we look beyond music, we find that same heart in actors like Tom Holland, whose humility keeps him grounded even as Spider-Man fame catapults him to global stardom. His respect for fans, his love for storytelling, and his dedication to craft make him a beacon for young artists everywhere, showing that kindness is the real superpower. And beside him, Zendaya continues to break boundaries. Her performances carry emotion beyond words, and her fashion embodies confidence and individuality together. They represent a generation that values connection over perfection and purpose over publicity, and that evolution in celebrity culture mirrors the evolution of society itself. Because today's icons are not just performers, they are voices, activists, dreamers who understand that fame is fleeting, but impact is forever. And we see that in people like Billie Eilish again, whose refusal to conform has created space for countless others to breathe easier in their own skin. And in Lizzo, who radiates body positivity, self-love, and joy. Her music and message have lifted spirits worldwide, reminding everyone that happiness is a right, not a reward. And in her laughter, there is liberation, because when people see someone loving themselves out loud, it gives them permission to do the same. And that ripple of confidence spreads to fashion too, where artists like Rihanna lead with inclusivity, making beauty universal and accessible. Her Fenty brand celebrates every shade, every shape, every story, proving that representation is not a trend, it is transformation. And across oceans, designers, actors, and models follow that lead like Gigi and Bella Hadid, who use their platforms to advocate for empathy, awareness, and global unity, turning runways into messages of peace and pride. And when we cross into the cinematic world again, we find legends like Meryl Streep, whose grace and excellence define timeless artistry. Her words about empathy, being the heart of acting, remind us that fame at its finest is about understanding others deeply, and that truth flows through actors like Denzel Washington, whose integrity on and off screen inspires generations. His speeches about faith, discipline, and purpose resonate beyond Hollywood, teaching that success without service is empty. And in another field, sports legends carry that same torch of inspiration like Serena Williams, whose dominance on the court is matched by her poise and philanthropy. She has shown the world that strength can be elegant, and ambition can be nurturing. And her story parallels that of athletes like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, whose rivalry is built on respect and mastery. Both symbols of dedication, discipline, and excellence, proving that greatness is achieved one choice at a time, one day at a time. And in that persistence, we find the same spirit that fuels entrepreneurs like Kylie Jenner, who turned creativity into empire-redefining beauty standards. For a new generation, her success at a young age reminds us that vision and courage can build worlds, and that failure along the way is part of the design. And similarly, her sister Kim Kardashian has evolved from reality TV fame to business mogul. Activism and law reform advocacy, showing that transformation is always possible if you keep moving forward with focus and heart. And beyond them, artists like Post Malone bring a blend of melancholy and joy, turning emotion into soundtracks of everyday life. His genuine humility endears him to fans because he never forgets where he came from, and he lives by the rhythm of gratitude. And in another spectrum of storytelling, directors like Greta Gerwig and Jordan Peele are reshaping cinema with creativity and purpose, proving that fame can coexist with philosophy and that art can entertain and enlighten at the same time. And within this tapestry of names, sounds, and faces, the unifying force remains authenticity. The courage to be yourself even when millions are watching, because in the end, fame is only meaningful when it reflects truth. And as we drift through this story of stars, it becomes clear that they all share a secret understanding that to shine endlessly, one must never lose the warmth of being human, because audiences connect not to perfection but to honesty, not to glitter but to grace. And maybe that is why Justin Bieber's quote about faithfulness still echoes through this entire narrative, because it is not just about romance. It is about commitment to values, to integrity, to love in its purest form. And that devotion, whether to a partner, to art, or to purpose, is what elevates these lives from famous to legendary. And when we watch them perform, smile, speak, or simply live, with gratitude, we realize that their light comes from the same source that lights us all: the desire to be seen, to be loved, to make meaning in a fleeting world. And as we move further through this constellation of fame and feeling, we begin to understand that the glow of celebrity is not just about the spotlight. It is about how people use that light to brighten the path for others. And that becomes clear when we look at someone like Jennifer Lawrence, whose authenticity and humor make her relatable to millions. Even as she collects Oscars and headlines, she laughs at her own stumbles on red carpets. She speaks openly about the pressure of image and perfection, reminding the world that joy and honesty are just as powerful as elegance and poise. And her laughter echoes through a generation that has grown tired of masks, longing for something real. And in that same space stands Emma Stone, whose humility and kindness mirror her depth as an actress. Her journey from comedy to emotional drama shows that fame built on talent and gratitude lasts longer than any trend. And she, like so many others, gives back, using her voice for causes close to her heart, showing that compassion is a currency that never loses value. And then we look toward Marvel's expanding universe, not just of heroes, but of human stories, where actors like Chris Evans carry leadership beyond the screen, using their influence to encourage civic awareness, kindness, and inclusion, proving that the true power of a hero lies not in super strength, but in empathy and respect. And that message mirrors the humility of Chadwick Boseman, whose legacy as Black Panther became more than cinema. It became a cultural awakening. His quiet strength during personal battles taught the world about dignity, courage, and purpose. His smile lives on in the hearts of millions, reminding everyone that greatness is measured not by fame, but by grace. And from that lesson, we see how art can transcend time and place, connecting souls across boundaries, like how Bollywood continues to captivate with artists such as Deepika Padukone, who openly speaks about mental health, turning her vulnerability into hope for others. Her beauty and brilliance are matched only by her advocacy, reminding fans that even those who seem invincible sometimes fight invisible battles, and yet by sharing them, they give others strength. And in that same rhythm there is Ranveer Singh, whose boundless energy, fashion, and love for creativity bring joy wherever he goes. His authenticity lights up every room, reminding us that self-expression is a gift to the world, not something to hide and across. Oceans in the realm of Latin music, stars like Maluma and J Balvin continue to expand culture with color, rhythm, and style, turning every performance into a celebration of roots and unity. Their collaborations with global artists break barriers, showing that music truly has no borders. And that connection extends to the world of film once again, with global icons like Tom Cruise, who for decades has shown dedication that borders on fearless, his commitment to his craft, his willingness to perform his own stunts, his passion for storytelling, all reveal a man driven not by fame, but by love of creation. And that passion inspires countless dreamers to keep pushing their limits. And then we see how the new generation carries that same flame. Actors like Florence Pugh radiate authenticity and confidence, balancing blockbusters with independent films, choosing roles that challenge norms and reflect truth. Her strength in speaking about body positivity and individuality makes her an icon of the youth's future just as much as her talent. And when we watch stars like Zendaya, Florence Timothée, and so many others growing together, we realize we are witnessing a cultural evolution where fame is less about distance and more about dialogue, a shared connection between those who create and those who listen. And this shared energy flows through sports as well, where athletes like Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles redefine what strength means by stepping back when they need to rest and speaking openly. About mental health, they prove that courage sometimes means saying no, that humanity should always come before performance. Their honesty has changed global conversations, showing that even in competition, compassion must lead and that truth echoes. Through generations of icons from Michael Jordan to LeBron James who continue to inspire through mentorship, community work, and relentless pursuit of excellence, LeBron's I Promise School stands as a testament to the idea that greatness multiplies when it lifts others, and that idea of lifting others carries through entertainment to philanthropy, where countless celebrities use their influence to build something bigger than themselves, like Angelina Jolie's humanitarian work or Taylor Swift's quiet donations to fans and charities, or Rihanna's global outreach through the Clara Lionel Foundation, or BTS donating to youth education programs around the world, proving that kindness is the universal language of the famous and the ordinary. Alike, and in this tapestry of generosity, we also find unexpected heroes like Keanu Reeves, who quietly funds children's hospitals and supports crew members out of his own earnings. His humility is legendary because he reminds everyone that real goodness does not need cameras. It only needs intent. And that sentiment carries into the journey of artists like Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel, who use their platforms for health education and creativity, nurturing the next generation. And even newer voices like Olivia Rodrigo bring messages of growth, authenticity, and forgiveness to their audiences, turning youthful confusion into collective catharsis through music that feels both nostalgic and new, and across genres and continents. The rhythm remains the same, the dance of humanity within fame. And as we listen to these stories, we begin to see how art, fame, and compassion merge into one flowing melody, and that melody continues through timeless icons like Elton John, who has spent decades using music and philanthropy to fight for equality. His courage paved paths for generations after him, showing that legacy is not built on applause, but on action, and that energy continues with younger voices like Sam Smith, who uses honesty about identity and love to help others embrace their own truths. And it is this web of connection from past to present that makes celebrity culture more than just glamour. It is a collective diary of human emotion, written in songs, films, and stories that echo through every heart that hears them. And in that diary, we also find stories of redemption, like those of Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, or Drew Barrymore, who each found their way back to joy and purpose, showing that no life is beyond repair, that growth is always possible, and that forgiveness, both given and received, is the most healing kind of fame because it transforms pain into peace. And that message ripples into every corner of entertainment, reminding people that even idols are human, and that humanity is what makes them idols in the first place. And perhaps that is why fans remain so loyal, so connected, because they see themselves reflected in their heroes. The struggles, the triumphs, the quiet moments of doubt, and the bright bursts of victory all mirror the human experience. And that shared humanity turns celebrity from spectacle into story, from distance into dialogue. And when we think about Justin Bieber again, and the idea that even thinking about another woman is cheating, we realize it is not just about romance, it is about focus, about giving your whole heart to something. Whether that something is a person, a purpose, or a dream. And that focus is what defines all great artists, the commitment to stay loyal to what matters most to their values, to their craft, to their people. And as we look at every star from Beyoncé to BTS, from DiCaprio to Deepika, from Justin to Taylor, we see that same devotion shining like a thread of gold through time. And it ties them all together into one truth, that the real art of fame is not being adored, but being remembered for love and light. If you love celebrity stories, Hollywood news, inspirational journeys, and behind-the-scenes moments that feel personal, hit like, comment, and subscribe to stay connected with more positive and emotional celebrity documentaries.